training session from TCA. What I'm going to do this morning is just run through Office 365 and using it from within your web browser. I use Google Chrome, so I'm going to open up Google Chrome. I'm going to go up to the address bar and I'm going to go to portal.office.com. Now, because I've logged in before, it's come up with my username here, put in my password, and I sign in. If you haven't logged in before, it'll come up with work account or a Microsoft account. So what I want to do is just go through this email here, just as a demonstration, but this effectively is my inbox, so I can scroll up and down and I've got all my email here. I've also got on the side here, I've got groups, and we won't talk about that in this session, or I've got more options here, and under more options I've got the ability to set up folders, additional folders down the side here, so I can save things to folders just as you would on a standard Outlook account. Plus I've got my favorites here. One of the things that Microsoft does do in your favorites area is put an inbox in here called clutter, and that just takes out standard emails that you may get through that you read or are important, but they're stuck aside because you're focusing on the key things. So we'll just go back to our inbox here. Just click down here, go to inbox. So in my inbox, I've got this email. This has got an attachment on it. I can actually go in and view this attachment. And when I'm viewing it, I can pull it up, I can continue editing, because this was one that I opened that I wanted to edit. And basically you've got all that flexibility to do the whole lot whilst you're online in the browser. If I want to forward this message on to someone, what I can do is just click down the right arrow here, and it brings up all the options. I can move it to clutter, I can move it to junk, I can forward or reply, so all the options are in here. This one here was one I was doing as a draft when I was preparing for this, so I can even delete an email right in here, or as you noticed here, it just pops up different options, so I can flag it, I can mark it as red, I can pin it for another important thing later on over here. So basically what that is your email, and there's a whole heap of options up the top here as well, but most options are accessible by right clicking. So if I right click anywhere, I get all my menu options. What I want to run through now is creating a new message. So I can click on new up the top here, click, that'll bring up a to box. So who am I going to send it to? I'm going to send it to tim@tca.com.au, and as I'm typing, it'll bring up previous addresses I've used in here. I can CC it to other people. I can then add a subject. This is a test. You can see in here I've put my signature along the bottom here, so I can automatically start typing hi test, thank you, and run through my email. I can then send it. I can add attachments, so it'll pull attachments straight off my desktop or off a stored folder online. I can add a picture, I can add an emoji, so there's lots of different options within it. Creating a new message, and then I just hit send, and away that message will go. In my case, what I actually want to do is discard that. So go to the top here and discard this message, and then I'm back in here. The second thing I wanted to show you was the calendar. When I click up the top right here, up the top left, this brings up all the options within Office 365. Today's session's only going to cover these first three. So what I want to do is go to calendar. And inside of calendar, just like any other normal calendar, I can add appointments, I can double click a time, so I can double click here this morning and pop it open, add my details. This is a test, add the location if that was important, how long it's going to run for, add a note to it. This is a test for the demo. and I add that in there. Once I've set everything I want to set, I just hit save, and there it's put my appointment in there. Once again, if I right click on, I've got other options in here. I can categorize it. I keep mine by category here. I can show it as busy, or in actual fact I can show it as away, and it puts a little tag on the side here. The other important thing for calendar is the ability to look at someone else's calendar. So I can pull up one of our team here. This is now opening Peter Ryan's calendar. So you can see, I can see my calendar and Peter's around it. So the third thing is people. What I can do inside of people here, this is where you put all your contacts. So in my case here, I've broken it into a couple of contacts. I've got my standard everyday contacts. These are people that I deal with on a regular basis, some personal, some business. And then I've also got some other accounts in here that are tied back into our system. So I've got other accounts, and there's no limit to the number of contacts you can put inside of your groups. When you're creating email, these contacts, or people as they're referred to in Outlook, are the people that can attach to email. The second thing I just wanted to touch on within a calendar appointment, and I'll turn off Peter here, so I'll disregard that. If I put in an appointment and I want to invite some other people to that appointment, I can certainly go into here and I can say add other people. So if in this case here I'll put Peter Ryan in, so I can select Peter Ryan. He's now added as an attendee, and then when I hit send, that's going to send a message to Peter to say, hey, you're invited to a meeting. I'm not going to do that. Peter won't know what's going on, so I'll disregard that. If I want to delete a calendar, I can just hit delete. Go back to my mail, and I'm back in my mail. I can start working. So that's all I wanted to cover off this morning. Hopefully that's clear, and we'll go in more detail as we do detailed training. To log out, you can actually click on your name here and sign out, and that'll log you out so as it's safe and no one else can be in your account doing anything if in actual fact you've used a separate browser on someone else's machine. That's all I wanted to cover off today. I hope you enjoyed it.